I am Anton Kruger from the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum in South Africa, and I'm a BRICSter.
Anton Kruger, Chief Executive Director of the Forum of Fruit and Vegetable Exporters of South Africa. Earlier, Anton Kruger led the South Africa Chamber of Ostrich Business. He is a member of the Board of Directors for the Export Control of Perishable Products.
Anton, you are the Director General of the Producers and Exporters of South African Fresh Products Forum. Tell us what is this forum like? Does it include the best representatives of such products?
The Fresh Produce Exporters Forum is a voluntary-based organization. We represent 93% of all the fresh fruit exported. It is a private institution, so it's privately funded by our members. So we'll never be 100% because we don't allow everybody to become a member. We are voluntary-based, and because we have these strict membership criteria, and that is why we say we take pride in our membership. So the international trading community.
They say that the most delicious oranges are grown in South Africa. Is it true?
We do have excellent climatic conditions, although sometimes we do have negative things like hail, but our growers also invest quite a lot in ensuring that they apply the practices that will ensure the high quality fruit. South Africa is the second largest exporter of citrus in the world, so therefore we think that our fruit must be of high quality. Taste South African fruit, we can ensure that the sugar content and all the other elements that are important to ensure quality have been properly tested and certified, because we do have a body called the Perishable Products Export Control Board, long word, PPECB, which certifies quality.
Can you tell that the fruit is of a good quality only by taking a look at it? For example, what would you say about this orange?
Well, in the first place, it is a smaller orange, and I think that is primarily due, if you look at that, would it be South African orange, that we do have the drought in certain areas of South Africa that contributes to smaller sizes fruit. But usually we also find that some consumers prefer the smaller fruit, especially when it is then more affordable for them.
Anton, in your opinion, how relationship between Russia and South Africa are developing? Do our countries play significant roles on our markets?
We're citrus and table grapes, but now we see quite an incline and an increase in the export of apples and pears, and to a certain extent peaches and nectarines to Russia. Maybe to give the bigger picture, South Africa exports 2.7 million tons of fresh fruits per year, and about 10% of that currently being exported to Russia. So we still see a huge potential to expand the market in Russia, and we've seen in the past that we do have good relationships between our exporters and the Russian traders, the importers, the wholesalers, the retailers. And primarily, currently, the focus is more towards Moscow, St. Petersburg, but then we see also potential in this region. Yes, I think we've seen a huge development during the past 10 to 15 years between Russia and South Africa. Exchange of various technologies, exchange of trade, going back decades and decades, and now being developed further with, like I've said, I think in the past 10 to 15 years, and it's still increasing, especially from a trade perspective, where we do have more and more people from South Africa realizing the potential in Russia, investigating the market, getting involved in the market, and we think that BRICS is one of those important factors contributing to it. And this year also the BRICS Summit will be housed in South Africa.
South African wine is well known on the Russian market. Would you recommend to try it? What can you say about the quality of this wine? Because people sometimes argue about it. Is it high or low?
Yes, and I think again we've got various climatic zones. If you look in the Western Cape, sometimes some sides of the hills and the mountains, you get the colder sea breeze at night for your white wines. You've got other sides of the hills and your valleys for your more sun, for your red wines. We've got various soil types to produce wines, and we've got the very unique South African Pinotage. That is the exclusive South African wine. It was developed in South Africa, and South Africa is then the world leader in the Pinotage red wine as well. So we do have good quality wines. We see also an interesting trend in some of the younger winemakers where they go and use the old vines that were just standing idle, starting to utilize that again, and they produce quite a very interesting and delicate new wine from old vines.
Based on the results of the Russian Investment Forum that was held in Sochi in February, Ambassador of South Africa in Russian Federation said that between RSA and Kuban can be developed a cooperation in agriculture. And one of the promising areas of such cooperation is winemaking. Together they may create a mutual Russian and RSA brand of wine. What do you think about this initiative?
Yeah, I think I can't speak on behalf of all the winemakers because some of them are very serious about their brands. Again, as I said, a thing like Pinotage, I think that is branded very exclusively South African. So it might be an interesting concept, but it will be interesting to see how that develops between then South Africa and Russia.
Well, again, fruits, wine, these products are gastronomic calling cards of South Africa. Are there any products that Russian people haven't tried yet? And could such products of South African suppliers surprise the Russian consumer?
So South Africa can produce various agricultural products, if that is what you're talking about, also technological products that can be exchanged. So I think the challenge always is just to get the right partner and to ensure that the demand is there, then that South Africa can supply consistently the volume and the quality that is required. And the other important thing is payment, that there will be surety and certainty of payment when products, technology, whatever, being exported. But that is all based on the relationships, and that is also part of, I think, this visit again, to establish and strengthening the relationships. Products such as rooibos tea, that is also uniquely South African, that we've seen there is a growing demand in Russia, people getting used to that taste. Some South African spices, herbs that can be exported, that we've seen the demand for that also growing. So various products, also our olive oil, that is interesting that not everybody is aware of that. That also a growing demand that we've seen when we participate in World Food Moscow every year with various South African food and fruit products.
We know what you export to Russia, but what products from Russia are in demand or could be in demand in South Africa? How do you think what products your compatriots will want to try?
One example might be grapes from, I think, Krasnodar to South Africa. There were some initiatives in the past that can continue. So to supplement the table grapes in South Africa, when our season ends, to import then grapes from Russia to South Africa. An example was the introduction in 2015 of new labeling requirements for fresh produce by the EAC on a customs part. And although we do have all they call it phytosanitary labeling and whatever is necessary for full traceability of the fruit, that you can trace the fruit back to the orchard. Suddenly this was this new requirement that had in 2015 a negative impact on our exports. It added additional costs. There was quite a lot of uncertainty about how to treat that. We had various meetings, and that's been resolved to a large extent between the South African exporter and the importer in Russia. In 2017, there were in July other measures introduced for phytosanitary requirements. That issue was resolved in September due to these relationships. So we always see where we do have such a challenge, we engage on the various levels and find a solution. Relationships between South Africa and Russia that was established last year, as from the 1st of April 2017, that no visas being needed for South Africans to visit Russia or for Russians to visit South Africa. And I think that is part of the answer to your question. If I think enough is being done, I think just that is a very big step forward in further enhancing trade relations.